Welcome back to my channel. What's up? The life with the Browns. Today, we're cracking open a case file so volatile, so deeply unsettling, that it threatens to collapse the carefully curated mythology surrounding the Brown family. What you're about to hear isn't rumor, and it isn't fan fiction. It's the result of insider testimony, leaked documents, and quiet confirmations from sources embedded deep within the fundamentalist Mormon world. This is the story of a woman whose dream was taken from her. A woman whose life's work, her vision, her creative identity was allegedly lifted, rebranded, and broadcast on national television by someone who, according to our investigation, may not have contributed a single original idea of her own. This is a story about greed disguised as inspiration, betrayal framed as collaboration, and the dark side of reality TV fame. Before we walk through the evidence that could permanently change how you see Robyn Brown, do me a favor. If you believe in accountability, if you believe the powerful shouldn't get to rewrite history unchecked, smash that like button. And if you're not already subscribed, hit subscribe and ring that bell, because this story doesn't end here. You'll want to follow every chapter. Now, let's begin. The House of Cards. Deconstructing a manufactured dream to understand the crime. We first have to understand the crime scene. And in this case, the crime scene has a name. My Sister Wife's Closet. When MSWC debuted on TLC, viewers were sold a very polished narrative. Robyn Brown was presented as the visionary, an artist, a designer, a creative force with a mission. The brand, we were told, was meant to celebrate plural marriage and the complicated, emotional bond between sister wives. It was framed as empowerment, unity, a physical symbol of the Brown family's strength. Go back and watch those early episodes. Robyn is positioned front and center, speaking confidently about design philosophy and brand integrity. Kody hovers nearby, playing hype man, proclaiming her a natural-born entrepreneur. The other wives are cast as eager supporters, ready to rally behind Robyn's dream. But almost immediately, the illusion began to crack, and not in subtle ways. These weren't minor startup hiccups. They were catastrophic warning signs that any experienced business owner would recognize instantly. First came the delays. Endless delays. Launch dates that slipped weeks, then months, then quietly disappeared. On the show, this was brushed off as Robyn being a perfectionist. That was the excuse fed to viewers. But what if that explanation was a smokescreen? What if this wasn't perfectionism at all, but confusion? Imagine trying to build a machine using blueprints you didn't create and couldn't fully understand. You might know what the finished product is supposed to look like, but you'd have no idea how the internal mechanisms function. You'd stall. You'd delay. You'd constantly second-guess yourself, trying to reverse engineer a process you never designed in the first place. Then came the quality issues. When the products finally launched, customer reactions were brutal. Jewelry described as flimsy, overpriced, poorly finished. Sterling silver pieces, the supposed backbone of the brand, were criticized for feeling lightweight, tarnished, and cheap. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. A former TLC production assistant, who requested anonymity, told our channel that returns became a constant crisis behind the scenes. According to this source, Robyn reacted emotionally and defensively to criticism. She couldn't engage with technical feedback about materials, manufacturing standards, or alloy composition. It was as if she understood the idea of jewelry, but not the reality of producing it. That burden fell on others. Mary and additional staff reportedly dealt with frustrated customers and damage control, while Robyn remained disconnected from the tangible mechanics of her own brand. Let that sink in. She was marketed as the visionary designer, yet couldn't engage with the most basic, practical aspects of her own products. For years, fans have chalked this up to Robyn simply being bad at business, inexperienced, overwhelmed. But today, we're presenting a far more disturbing theory, one now at the center of a growing legal dispute. What if Robyn wasn't failing because she lacked skill? What if she was failing because she was trying to execute a stolen blueprint she never truly understood? That theory explains everything. The absence of growth, the inability to innovate, the lack of new designs. The way MSWC limped along, artificially supported by TLC money before quietly collapsing into obscurity, leaving behind broken links and disillusioned customers. It wasn't a business. It was an imitation of one. And now, it's time to introduce you to the woman who allegedly created the original blueprint. Meet Anna. The dream that came first to find the truth. We have to rewind to 2011. Sister wives had just exploded onto the cultural scene. Polygamy was suddenly dinner table conversation across America. And in a quiet Utah town, far from the cameras and contracts, a woman we'll call Anna was watching. Anna wasn't just a viewer. She lived the life. She was a fundamentalist Mormon, a sister wife, a mother, and a talented graphic designer with a passion for handmade jewelry. For years, she had run a modest but successful online shop from her home. It wasn't a hobby. It was her livelihood, her creative outlet, her independence. Her business had a name that should already be raising alarms: My Sister Wives Jewelry Box. According to multiple sources, Anna's shop had a devoted following. Her designs weren't trendy. They were personal. Every piece reflected lived experience, connection, sacrifice, resilience, and the quiet strength shared between women in plural marriages. Her marketing wasn't glossy or corporate. It was honest. Blog posts about her life, about hardship, about faith, about sisterhood. She wasn't just selling jewelry. She was selling her story, and people believed in it. But Anna dreamed bigger. She wanted to scale, to improve materials, to employ women from her community, to build something sustainable that could support her family for generations. And to do that, she needed capital, exposure, a platform. In 2011, there was only one family in the polygamist world with that kind of reach: the Browns. To Anna, it felt like destiny. Shared faith, shared culture, shared understanding. She believed they would respect her work because they understood the principle. Through mutual contacts, she secured what thousands of fans never could: a private pitch meeting with Kody and Robyn Brown, who were, at that exact moment, actively searching for a business concept to feature on the show. Anna thought this meeting would change her life. She just didn't realize whose life it would actually change. The pitch meeting, a dream handed over based on sworn testimony and preserved evidence. We can reconstruct what happened next. Picture a rented office space in Lehi, Utah. Sterile, quiet, heavy with expectation. Anna sits at one end of the table, prepared, hopeful, nervous. Across from her sit Kody Brown, buzzing with restless energy, and Robyn Brown, composed, attentive, unreadable. Anna didn't walk in with vague ideas. She came with a 40-page business plan, a full pitch deck by industry standards. We've obtained exclusive images from this deck, and they are nothing short of devastating. The opening slides outlined a mission statement nearly identical to what viewers would later hear on TLC: meaningful jewelry celebrating the strength, sacrifice, and solidarity of sister wives. Empowerment. Visibility. Giving voice to a misunderstood lifestyle. Then came the branding. The name. The logo. The color palette. Earth tones. Teals, browns, creams. The marketing strategy. And this is the detail you need to remember. Anna's signature concept was to name each piece after a specific virtue or challenge within plural marriage: the patience pendant, the unity bracelet, the resilience ring. A complete, ready-to-launch concept. A dream, fully formed. And, according to the evidence, it never left that room with her. And then Anna reached the core of her presentation: the designs themselves. She didn't come with vague inspiration boards or half-formed ideas. She came with dozens of hand-drawn sketches, each one carefully thought out, each one rooted in lived experience. But there was one piece she treated differently. One design she saved for last. The centerpiece. The flagship. The soul of the entire brand. It was inspired by her own family history. Anna explained that she had reimagined the traditional Irish claddagh ring, a symbol of love, loyalty, and friendship, but she had deliberately stripped it of its rigid, traditional form. Instead of a single pair of hardened hands, Her design featured 3 stylized women, their arms interlocked, bodies curved inward, forming an unbroken circle of strength. At the center, where their arms met, sat a single heart, shared, protected, unified. She called it the sisterly bond pendant. It wasn't just jewelry. It was a visual manifesto for plural marriage done right. A metaphor for mutual support, sacrifice, and collective resilience. According to Anna's sworn testimony, as she explained the meaning behind the piece, Robyn physically leaned forward. Her eyes widened. Her posture changed. Robyn allegedly said, That is so inspiring. It speaks to my soul." In that moment, Anna felt hope surge through her. They understood. They felt it. This was the confirmation she had been waiting for. But before revealing a single sketch, Anna had done something incredibly smart. Something professional, cautious, and by the book. She slid a non-disclosure agreement across the table. An NDA is standard practice. It's not hostile. It's not accusatory. It simply says, the ideas shared in this room are confidential and cannot be taken or reused without permission. That's when the tone of the meeting shifted. According to the court filing, Kody glanced at the document and immediately scoffed. He pushed it aside and allegedly said, "We're not corporate sharks, Anna. This is too Hollywood. We're family. We operate on trust and principle." He refused to sign. Robyn's response was different. She picked up the pen. "Oh, it's fine, Kody," she allegedly said. "I'll sign it. We want Anna to feel comfortable." And with that, Robyn Brown put her signature on the line. That signature would later become the anchor of the entire lawsuit, a decision legal experts now describe as catastrophic. Not emotionally, legally. After Anna finished her presentation, something unsettling happened. Kody, who had been restless and animated earlier, suddenly shut down. His interest vanished. He dismissed the concept as too niche, too limited, not something he could see going anywhere. Robyn, who minutes earlier had been visibly moved, went cold. The warmth drained from her face. She told Anna they weren't interested, that they were going in a different direction. And just like that, it was over. Anna walked out of that room stunned, confused, crushed. She had laid her heart, her creativity, and years of work on that table, and it had been rejected without meaningful discussion. She went home believing it was the end of the road. She had no idea that for Robyn Brown, it was only the beginning. 6 months later, the nightmare goes public. 6 months. That's all it took. 6 months after being dismissed, Anna was sitting at home watching Sister Wives. Life had moved on, or so she thought. She was back to focusing on her small online shop, trying to bury the disappointment. Then she heard Kody announce it. A big family project. Robyn began speaking about a dream she'd had, about starting a jewelry and lifestyle brand celebrating the bond between sister wives. Anna's stomach dropped. And then came the name. My Sister Wife's Closet. Not identical, but close enough to feel deliberate. Close enough to sting. A barely altered echo of My Sister Wives' jewelry box. It felt like mockery. But the worst was still coming. As the season unfolded, the products were revealed. One by one. And there it was on national television, held up by Robyn Brown and presented as her divine inspiration. Anna's designs. A bracelet with interlocking circles, nearly identical to Anna's Unity bracelet. A pendant with multiple connected hearts, an unmistakable echo of Anna's 4 Wives charm. And then the centerpiece. The flagship product. A sterling silver pendant. Robyn held it up to the camera, eyes glassy, voice trembling, and told the audience its origin story. She said the design came to her in a dream, that she woke up and had to sketch it, that it represented 3 strong women holding each other up, a fortress of strength, a symbol of everything they were. There it was, Anna's sisterly bond pendant, her deeply personal Clado reinvention, taken, renamed, repackaged, and broadcast to millions as Robyn Brown's spiritual revelation. The very design Robyn had once said spoke to my soul. It spoke to her soul so deeply, apparently, that she claimed it as her own. This was the moment the betrayal became undeniable. This wasn't business competition. This wasn't coincidence. This was the theft of identity, of creativity, of lived experience, of spirit. Anna wasn't watching a brand launch. She was watching her life's work being erased and rewritten with someone else's name attached. The imbalance of power was staggering. Anna was a private artist from a closed community. The Browns were protected by a major network, a production company, and an army of lawyers. For a long time, Anna did nothing. She was scared, intimidated, devastated. But on the day of that pitch meeting, she had made one critical decision, one that would later change everything. She kept everything, every file, every sketch, every email, every draft. When Anna finally chose to fight back, she didn't come empty-handed. She came prepared. This case is not hearsay. It's not emotion versus emotion. It's evidence versus narrative. So, let's open the evidence locker. Exhibit A, the pitch deck. Anna didn't just retain a paper copy. She kept the original digital files. Legal analysts consulting on this case emphasize that this is devastating for the defense. Digital files contain metadata, digital fingerprints that show exactly when a file was created and last modified. Anna's design files for the sisterly bond pendant are time-stamped March 2011. My Sister Wife's Closet was announced months later and launched in 2012. The timeline doesn't bend. It doesn't argue. It proves authorship. The similarities between the designs are too precise to dismiss. The number of figures, the interlocked arms, the placement of the heart. Any jury would recognize it immediately. Exhibit B, the non-disclosure agreement. This is where the case tightens like a noose. By signing that NDA, Robyn Brown entered a legally binding contract. It explicitly stated that all concepts shared were confidential and proprietary to Anna and could not be used to create a competing business. That contract was violated. Not ambiguously. Not accidentally.
Clean. Clear.
Documented. And this is only the beginning of what the evidence reveals. Kody's refusal to sign that NDA is revealing in its own way. From a strictly legal standpoint, it may shield him from direct liability on the breach of contract claim. But in the court of public opinion, it paints a far uglier picture. It shows arrogance, dismissiveness. A man who believed his principles placed him above formal accountability. That posture may have insulated him from one charge, but it sealed his wife's fate on another. Because Robyn did sign, and that signature makes her the legally responsible party. She is the one who promised not to use or replicate the ideas presented in that room. And according to this lawsuit, she is the one who did exactly that. Exhibit C, the smoking gun voicemail. This is the emotional core of the case. The human cost. The piece of evidence that strips away spin, excuses, and plausible deniability. After seeing her designs unveiled on national television, Anna did the only thing she could think to do. She called the number Robyn had personally given her. The call went to voicemail. And in a moment of raw, unfiltered devastation, Anna left a message she never imagined would be heard by anyone else, let alone played in a courtroom years later. For more than a decade, that voicemail sat untouched on a server, unacknowledged, unanswered. But during legal discovery, Anna's attorneys subpoenaed Robyn Brown's phone records from 2012. And there it was.
Saved.
For reasons still unknown, Robyn never deleted it. According to the official transcript included in the court filings, this is what Anna said. Robyn, it's Anna. Anna from the meeting. I just saw the show. I saw the jewelry. That's my design. That's my sisterly bond pendant. You told me you weren't interested. So you stole my business. You stole my life's work, my story.
How could you do this to me?
To another sister wife? I thought you were different. You stole my dream, Robyn. You stole it. There is no performance there.
No calculación.
Just grief. This is what attorneys call contemporaneous evidence, a record created at the moment of discovery, capturing an authentic emotional reaction. It proves Anna didn't fabricate this narrative years later out of bitterness or greed. It proved she recognized the theft immediately. And it proved something else just as damning. Robyn heard it. She knew she'd been caught. And she chose silence. She ignored the pleas of the woman she wronged and continued to build her public image and her income on a foundation she knew was compromised. A house divided. The co-plaintiffs, the lawsuit itself, was already explosive. But buried within it is a twist that turns this case into something far bigger than an intellectual property dispute. Anna is not alone. Listed as co-plaintiffs seeking damages for misuse of family funds are two names that sent shockwaves through the fanbase. Janelle Brown. Christine Brown. This is betrayal coming full circle. According to the filing, the seed money used to launch My Sister Wife's Closet came from the Brown family's shared account, the communal fund largely overseen by Janelle. Money generated by all the wives' participation. Money Christine, Janelle, and Mary helped create. That money was allegedly used to fund a business now accused of being built on stolen intellectual property. Think about the implications. For years, Janelle, Christine, and Mary were asked, sometimes pressured, to promote MSWC on television and on social media. According to the lawsuit, they were unknowingly turned into accomplices, publicly endorsing a brand that may never have been legitimate in the first place. A source close to the family claims Janelle had long-standing concerns. Janelle is numbers first, the source says. The MSWC finances never made sense to her. Huge inventory costs. Marketing expenses. Almost no return. She questioned it repeatedly, but Kody always shut her down. He insisted they had to trust Robyn's vision. Christine's motivation appears even more personal. Her eventual separation from Kody was driven by years of feeling dismissed, minimized, and consistently sidelined in favor of Robyn. Discovering that shared family money was poured into a business that wasn't just failing, but allegedly stolen from another polygamous woman, may have been the final, unforgivable insult. By joining this lawsuit, Janelle and Christine are doing more than seeking financial restitution. They are making a public declaration. They are siding legally and morally against Kody and Robyn. They are validating Anna's account. And in doing so, they are dismantling the central myth that has long protected Robyn's status within the family, that she was the creative savior, the business mind, the woman who brought value and vision. Instead, she now stands accused by her own former sister wives of being a con artist who defrauded not just an outside creator, but the family itself. The lines have been drawn. The evidence is stacked. And the stage is set for a courtroom battle that will force Robyn Brown to face the women she betrayed. The case of Anna et al. Versus Kody and Robyn Brown was headed to trial. And we're taking you inside that courtroom. Welcome back to the Sister Wives crew. You're watching part 2 of our special investigation, Case File 028, The Stolen Identity of My Sister Wife's Closet. In part 1, we laid out the bombshell allegations. We introduced you to Anna, the creative entrepreneur whose brand, designs, and vision were allegedly taken after a single pitch meeting. We revealed the time-stamped pitch deck, the signed NDA, and the devastating voicemail Robyn never thought would surface. And we exposed how Janelle and Christine Brown, fed up with deception and misuse of family funds, joined a lawsuit, turning a case of theft into an all-out civil war within the Brown family. Now, the fight moves to the courtroom. Now, we take you inside the courtroom, the place where whispers turn into sworn testimony, where secrets collapse under oath, and where lies finally meet consequences.
The doors are sealed.
The jury is seated, and the truth is about to have its day. This is where a stolen dream becomes a public nightmare. Inside the courtroom, a family torn in two. The courtroom itself felt symbolic, a physical manifestation of a family that no longer existed. On one side sat the plaintiffs. Anna was seated between her attorneys, small in stature, but unbreakable in presence. She wore conservative clothing, her hands clasped tightly in her lap, knuckles white with restraint. Beside her sat Janelle and Christine. According to our courtroom correspondent, they were calm, focused, and unflinching.
No dramatics. No tears.
They weren't there for sympathy, they were there for accountability. When they leaned toward each other to whisper, it wasn't gossip. It was strategy, a united front against the people they once called family. On the other side sat the defendants. Robyn clutched a tissue before a single word had been spoken. Dressed in dark, severe clothing, she wore the familiar mask viewers had seen for years, the posture of practiced victimhood. Beside her, Kody was the opposite. Restless, radiating hostility. His leg bounced, his eyes scanned the room like he was hunting for confrontation. He glared at Janelle and Christine with visible resentment, seemingly blind to the irony of his own betrayal. The air was electric, heavy with years of suppressed anger, manipulation, and emotional debt. This wasn't just a trial. It was a reckoning. The opening statements, facts versus feelings. The plaintiff's opening statement was devastating in its simplicity. Mr. Davies, Anna's attorney, calmly walked the jury through the timeline, piece by piece. He framed Anna not as a victim, but as a creator. A hardworking mother, a skilled artist, a woman who believed she was partnering with people who shared her values. "This is not a case of coincidence," Davies said, his voice steady in the silent room. "This is not two people having the same idea at the same time. This is a case about a predator, one cloaked in television fame, who saw something beautiful and decided to take it, believing its creator was too small, too quiet, and too powerless to fight back." He paused. They were wrong. The defense followed with chaos. Robyn's attorney leaned heavily on emotion, painting her as a misunderstood visionary and Anna as a bitter, failed artist chasing fame and money. Kody nodded along aggressively, muttering, "Amen," loud enough for the court reporter to record. The jury was unmoved. They weren't there for sermons. They were there for evidence. Anna takes the stand. When Anna was called to testify, she avoided looking at Robyn. Her voice started softly, but gained strength as Mr. Davies guided her through her history, her background in graphic design, her years as a self-taught jewelry maker, her professional portfolio, which was entered into evidence. The goal was clear: prove this woman was no amateur. She wasn't. She had a consistent artistic style, a professional track record, a voice. Then came the heart of it all. When asked why she created my sister wives' jewelry box, Anna explained it wasn't about profit, it was about recognition. "I wanted to honor the women in my life," she said. "Our lives require sacrifice. Quiet strength. I wanted to create something that said, 'I see you.' That was my story." She explained the symbolism behind each design, not as marketing, but as lived philosophy. The unity bracelet, the resilience ring, jewelry forged with meaning. The courtroom was silent. Then Mr. Davies asked about the pitch meeting. When she described Robyn leaning in, holding the sketch, and saying, "It speaks to my soul," her voice cracked. "I thought I'd found my partner," she said. Finally, he asked what it felt like to see my sister wife's closet on television. Anna paused. "It was like watching someone live your life, but do it badly," she said. "It was my name, twisted. My designs, stripped of meaning. And hearing her say it came to her in a dream, that was the worst part. She didn't just steal my work. She stole my story." By the time she stepped down, the jury wasn't just listening. They believed her. Robyn Brown on the stand. Robyn took the stand like someone heading toward judgment. Her attorney began with soft questions, painting her as spiritual, creative, misunderstood. Under oath, Robyn repeated the story she'd told for years. The business came from a dream, a divine calling. "It felt like a mission from God," she said, dabbing at her eyes. It was a performance refined over a decade. Then Mr. Davies stood, and the room changed. "Ms. Brown," he said calmly, "you claim this design came to you in a dream. Was that dream, by any chance, on March 17, 2011, at approximately 2 p.m., in a rented office in Lehi, Utah?" A murmur rippled through the courtroom. Robyn froze. I don't know what you mean," she stammered. Mr. Davies placed Anna's pitch deck in front of her. "Do you recognize this?" She hesitated. "I may have seen it." Then the screens lit up. On one side, Anna's 2011 sketch of the sisterly bond pendant. On the other, Robyn's flagship MSWC necklace. Please explain this coincidence, Davies said. Great minds think alike, Robyn replied weakly. And these great minds just happened to meet privately 6 months earlier? He asked. Then came the NDA. Is this your signature? Silence. Yes. So you make legal promises you don't intend to keep? He asked. Robyn broke.
Tears.
Accusations. Claims of jealousy. A final emotional outburst from someone cornered by facts. Then Mr. Davies delivered the kill shot. Let's hear what my client said in 2012, right after your dream aired on national television. The voicemail played. Anna's sobbing voice filled the courtroom. Robyn went pale. Kody jumped up, shouting objections until the judge shut him down. The jury had heard it. The truth, raw, immediate, undeniable. Ms. Brown, Davies said, pointing to the screen, isn't it true that your dream actually came from a PowerPoint presentation given to you by a woman you stole from? Silence. Your dream, he concluded, was her nightmare. Robyn collapsed into sobs. No further questions were needed. Kody's testimony, a 5-alarm disaster. If Robyn's testimony damaged the defense, Kody's obliterated it. Combative from the start, he dismissed the process, insulted Anna, and openly admitted he didn't believe in NDAs. We operate on a higher principle, he said. A higher law. Then he slipped. He admitted Robyn kept the pitch deck. Admitted she used it for inspiration. Admitted she liked the aesthetic. He handed the jury the final piece of the puzzle himself. The verdict: the jury deliberated for less than an hour. Guilty on all counts. Intellectual property theft. Copyright infringement.
Fraud.
Breach of contract. The judge's rebuke was brutal. You didn't just steal a business, he said. You stole a woman's soul. He called Robyn's tears performative. Her identity fraudulent. You are not the victim, he told her. You are a thief. The aftermath. Justice served. The ruling was devastating. All profits from my sister-wife's closet returned to Anna. $2 million in punitive damages, paid by Robyn personally. And the final blow. The entire brand, name, domain, inventory, and IP was transferred to Anna. Her dream was returned. Janelle and Christine received repayment for misused family funds. As they exited the courtroom together, Christine reportedly placed a hand on Anna's shoulder. A quiet smile passed between them. A new sisterhood, forged in betrayal and truth. The real victory: this wasn't just about money. It was about exposure. Robyn's one claim to value, her business mind, was legally declared a lie. She wasn't a visionary. She was a plagiarist. And with that, a decade-long illusion collapsed. Anna is now relaunching her original brand, on her terms, using the settlement to employ women from her community, just as she always intended. A nightmare reclaimed. A dream restored. What do you think? Was justice served? Let me know in the comments. And if you appreciate deep dives like this, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Until the next case file, stay sharp and question everything.